Do you shy away from making curved blocks like the drunkard's path block where you have curved seams? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to sew curved seams. I'm Jodie Davis, and let me tell you, it's not as scary as it looks. Yes, you have bias edges, which is the problem, but you can also use it to your advantage. The key is to do a little bit of pinning and then to sew slowly and to stop and regroup. Let me show you how. I've cut out pieces for what would be a typical drunkard's path. This is the crust and this is the pie piece, just to give them names and make us hungry. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just finger press both of them so that I get a good little crease in there. It might be hard for you to see on the camera, but if you do it with your fingers, you'll be able to see it in front of you. So now what I'm going to do is, there's that one crease and here's the other. I'm going to leave my pie piece on the bottom and put the crust on the top. And the first thing I'm going to do is match up those creases, and I'm going to put a pin in at that crease going through both layers and just take a little nip, a little teeny bite. That gives you more maneuverability, which you'll see once you start sewing. And then at the first end, I'm going to match up just right along that raw edge, and with a pin I'm going to take a larger bite because I want that to have a whole lot of stability. This middle one I want to be able to pivot around, but on the edges I don't want them to move. I want them to stay where I want them because I want it to match up just right. So now I'm going to do the last edge and match that up, take a big bite, and now I'm ready to sew. So I have my 1/4" presser foot on my sewing machine, and I'm going to put my pieces of fabric in there with this little stop here lined up over on the right. And I just took a couple stitches and that gets things started. And now I'm going to go ahead and rearrange this edge so that it starts to be the way it is supposed to be. And we are dealing with bias edges, but we use that fact to our advantage because you can manipulate them because they do have stretch. I go a little bit and then I check to make sure. You can feel underneath to make sure nothing's bagged up. See, that was kind of folded underneath there. So you just work your way along, and you can go as slowly as you want. It does take more time than just stitching straight pieces. You can either lift the presser foot or not, depending on how you feel about it. Sometimes all it takes is just kind of stopping with your needle down and rearranging. Now when you get to this pin that was at the center, stop and go ahead and rearrange again for the second half of the seam. And again, as I did before, I'm really only going a little bit at a time and then checking and making sure that things are aligning, and then that top crust isn't bunching, and that also underneath everything is laying the way it's supposed to. I'm not really worried at this point about this back edge, this far edge. I'm going to wait till I get closer and then I'll worry about it. And now I'm getting closer, so I'm going to start looking at it and make sure that it's lined up and that everything's going to work out when I get towards the end. So I've taken the pin out and boom, now I'm at the end. Let's see how this looks. Pretty darn nice. And you'll notice that the seam allowances naturally want to go towards the crust. So that's good. That's a good thing. So press them that way. And when you follow that routine, then everything will work out in your pressing. So hey, that wasn't so bad, was it?